everyone, welcome back to my channel and another vlog. If you haven't already, then please subscribe to my channel. This is going to be the first in a series of wedding planning vlogs that I am planning on doing. So it has been almost a month already, I can't believe it, since Craig and I got engaged on the 23rd of December at the Savoy in London. And if you haven't already seen it, then please go and check out our amazing engagement video. I will link it up here if you haven't already seen it. So I just thought I would go through the initial first month of wedding planning that we have done so far. So we got engaged on the 23rd of December and we got to it straight away really with looking at some venues, and we have now booked our venue. I'm going to go into a bit more detail about that in a little while. We have set a budget, which is probably one of the most important things for you to do, to try and get in order what you can spend and what you're happy to spend. So our initial thoughts were we wanted to get married somewhere in sort of North Essex. We'll have people coming from all over Essex for the wedding, and Suffolk as well. So we thought that was probably quite a good base to search for venues. So I'm also going to show you a little bit today. I have a budget spreadsheet ready to go. I have this amazing planner book as well. And I have also been using the Bridebook app, which I'm going to show you a little bit about today and how I've been using it. I found it so useful so far. Obviously this isn't something that you do all the time unless you are a wedding planner, of course. So I really didn't have a clue where to start, and the Bridebook app has been really helpful for just organising my thoughts and thinking about what it is I need to do and when. So the very first thing we did before we did anything else was to start thinking about what our budget would be. We've got an incredibly exciting year coming up this year. We're going to Florida in April, and we've reserved a new build house now, so we're hopefully going to be moving in around May or June, and we're going to New York for my 30th birthday in October. So we have lots of exciting things coming up, but all of those things obviously cost money. So we sat down and had a look at our finances and decided to set a budget. Now, I was a little bit naive about how much all of these things cost. So we have gone for a rough budget of £25,000, which, even as I say it, gives me a little bit of a heart palpitation, but I think that's probably quite a realistic budget for the sort of wedding that we want to hold. So that is what we've done, and the Bridebook app was really useful in breaking down. You can put in sort of a target budget and it breaks it down for how much you can, if you're sticking to that budget, afford to spend on each area. So I'll show you, I'm going to show you a screen recording of my phone going through the Bridebook app and how that's really helped me. So from there, I've made a spreadsheet as well. Anyone who knows me will know that I love an Excel spreadsheet. So I was in my happy place making that spreadsheet for me to refer back to for all of the planning. So I will show you that as well. So we've broken down the budget and what we are expecting to spend on each thing, and that really helped us to narrow down the sorts of venues that we would look at. It's really difficult when you look online at venues, because often they don't have a price available for you to see online, so you can't really narrow it down before you visit them. So we were quite fortunate that in January these venues host a lot of open days, so we've been to a couple of open days. We had a show round appointment as well, where it's sort of just us and the people at the venue. So the show rounds are really useful to get a personalised quote, because the appointment is just for you and you can sit down and have a quote made for you. We went to a couple of open days before we chose our venue, and found that some will take the time to sit down with you and give you a personalised quote. Some took our details and got back to us afterwards. So it was quite difficult, particularly on those ones where you're not given a quote straight away, to get an idea of how much you would actually be spending there. So it did mean a lot more to us when we got a personalised quote on an open day as well. So obviously before you go to look at venues, you need to have a rough idea on numbers. This has been one of the most hardest things for us, is looking at a guest list. Obviously we won't need to finalise a guest list for a long time, but it's deciding how many people will come in the day and in the evening. We want to keep it to roughly 80 day guests, and then perhaps another 20 in the evening. That's proving quite difficult already. So we may end up increasing the numbers if we feel that we want to invite more day people, but obviously that then drives up the price quite a lot more as well, depending on your number of guests. Most venues I've found do a quote for 60 people, 60-day guests, and then everybody else is a certain amount per person on top of that. So yeah, we're aiming for 80-day guests. It will probably end up being slightly more though. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit now about the venue that we have chosen and why we have picked it. So we are getting married at Crondon Park in Ingatestone Stock area on the Sunday the 2nd of April 2023. So we have booked a date, we have confirmed that venue, and we're really excited about it. So we saw a couple of venues. We saw Apton Hall in Rochford, which we absolutely loved as well, and we went to Hedingham Castle, which was absolutely beautiful, but it just wasn't for us. And we really like the barn feel, the like wooden beams, really nice big airy rooms, and Crondon Park is absolutely perfect for that. I have a bit of an advantage before going there because I had been to a wedding there before, and it was such a beautiful day. It was really lovely, so I knew a little of what to expect heading into the open day, but Craig hadn't been there at all before, so he absolutely fell in love with it as we were shown around individually by somebody who was going to end up being our front of house manager for our wedding day, and she was great. She answered all of our questions. She was really honest about different things. It was really nice to see the venue dressed. They obviously like dressed them up for an open day to show the sorts of things that it could look like, and it was just really lovely. I'll put in some clips of some of the footage that I took as I walked around. I didn't film too much because my camera died on that day. But yeah, the ceremony room is beautiful. It's got the wooden beams, and it's a little on the small side, particularly if we do end up being more than 80 guests. But they assured us that they can fit up to 100 guests in there, and we could potentially have the ceremony outside, obviously depending on the weather. I would prefer for it to be inside, but just purely because I love that barn feel. So yeah, we loved the ceremony room. We really liked that everything was step-free access as well. One thing we found, particularly at Hedingham Castle, there was no disabled access there. So if we were to get married in the castle, there were lots of steep spiral staircases. And I personally didn't really fancy my chances of going up and down there in a long dress and heels as well. So that was quite a big factor for us in why Hedingham Castle was a no. So that's another thing we really liked about Crondon Park, is that everywhere is completely step-free and accessible. Then moving into the reception room, so the tables is a really beautiful area. The tables were all dressed, and they were actually dressed in with a sage green sash, which is one of the colours that I'm looking for as part of my colour scheme. So it just looked absolutely beautiful. And one really key thing for us is that we really wanted everything for the evening to be in one place. We wanted, so the bar leads into the reception room, and then once the wedding breakfast is finished and speeches are over, they take half of the room, they keep tables in, and the other half becomes the dance floor. So I really like the idea of people who didn't want to dance and be in all the action could still have a seat and see everything that was going on as well. So we really liked that. There's some beautiful gardens that we would use for our wedding pictures. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful venue. Another great thing about it is it has a bridal suite, and that's absolutely beautiful. The views out of the bridal suite are lovely, and the bridal suite is away from the rest of the accommodation, so that'll feel really nice and special for us to have our sort of own area to go back to after all the festivities are over. There is accommodation on site there as well, so there are 5 double rooms, which would be great for our sort of immediate family to stay in. And then there is a lovely room to have breakfast in the next day, and you can have anyone who's not staying on site of the night of the wedding can have the choice of coming back for breakfast for an additional cost. And so that will be really nice to be able to celebrate the next morning as well with all of our loved ones as the final part of the celebration. So yeah, we absolutely love the venue. We're so pleased with it, and the main selling point for us was the price. It was a really good price, and compared to Apton Hall, which was quite a very close second for us, the reason that we ended up going with Crondon Park instead was because their Sunday price was the same as their Monday to Thursday price. So we were looking at the Easter holidays. Obviously I'm a primary school teacher, so it would either have to be a school holiday or a weekend. The Saturday prices in a lot of places are extortionately more than the rest, so we were planning on having a Monday wedding. However, the price at Crondon Park for the Sunday was exactly the same, whereas it was about £3,500 more the Monday compared to the Sunday at other venues. So that was the real thing that swung it for us, is that people wouldn't have to take a day off work to come to the wedding, and it would be a lot easier for our guests. So yeah, it's absolutely perfect. We absolutely love it, and we can't wait to get started on planning it a bit more thoroughly there. So the package that we have gone for at Crondon Park obviously includes exclusive venue hire, so obviously we'll be the only wedding that happens on that day, and we'll have exclusive use of all of the ceremony rooms, the reception room and everything like that. It allows me to get into the bridal suite with my bridesmaids at 11 AM on the morning of the wedding, which is not as early as I would like. However, there is a hotel really nearby, so I'm probably going to be planning on staying there the night before and then starting to get ready there and transferring over. It includes the wedding breakfast, a 3-course meal, and it also includes the evening buffet for everybody as well. The price also included the chairs in the ceremony room, which are sometimes not included in the venue price. It also includes the reception drinks, so it includes drinks for 1 reception drink per person straight after the ceremony, half a bottle of wine per person during the wedding breakfast, and a toasting glass of Prosecco for the speeches as well. So that's everything that the price includes. We will need to pay for things like canapes and things like that on top, any entertainment that we might have, and the DJ, that they have all of those resources there, but they will just be extra prices on top of the package price that we've paid. So now I've told you a little bit more about the plans we've made so far, I'm going to talk you through the Bridebook app and how I have used it so far to help me with my planning. So it is a free app that I got from the App Store. And it's got lots of different features that have been really useful. So obviously now that we have booked a date, I've managed to put that in, so 2nd of April 2023 at Crondon Park. So there are 440 days to go until our wedding, which is very exciting. So the homepage is broken down a little bit like this, and so I'll talk you through some of the different things that you can use. So the first thing I'll talk to you about is the budget. So like I said, at the moment it says our budget is 57% remaining, which obviously only really includes the price that we've paid for the venue so far. So what we did originally is you can put in your target budget, which we put in as £25,000, and then it breaks it down into what they estimate you should spend on each thing. So obviously the venue was down as 12,696. At the moment we've paid 10,780, but that will probably increase if we add more day guests. And then it breaks down all of the different suppliers and how much you should expect to pay. Now obviously this is just an estimate, we might end up spending more on some things and less on the other, but you can input each time. So for stationery, for example, I've put in £57 so far, because I have ordered save the dates already, so you can put the amount that you've actually paid for and any notes in there to help you keep track of what you are spending. So it breaks it down into venue and suppliers. Then you have wedding attire and accessories. Now obviously the wedding dress down there has got an awful lot of money next to it. My mum has already very kindly offered to buy my wedding dress, which is amazing. And so obviously I probably won't need to spend any money. Obviously I will for my accessories, but the actual dress, that's going to be a big expense that we are saving. So like I said, it's just an estimate, and then obviously you decide what you want to spend from there on. Wedding additionals, things that you might not think of, registrar fees, insurance. We don't need to pay for our wedding night bridal suite, it's included in our package price. Favours and gifts. Honeymoon, we haven't put anything to in that as an estimate yet, because we have no idea what we will want to do as a honeymoon, but you can always add your own items as well if there's something that you want to put in. So that's nice to keep track of how much you're spending, and I like the fact that it gives you a percentage as well, because you can see whereabouts you're going from there. The other thing that has been an absolute lifesaver is the checklist. Now this is really amazing, because depending on when you want to get married, so even if you don't know the date to start with, but you know roughly the month that you want to get married in, or roughly the season that you want to get married in, say summer 2023, you can put that in to start with, and it will tell you what you should be doing each month. So if I click on my done tab over here, these are the things that we have already done. So it ticks it off, but you can still go back to check and to make sure you're happy with those things. So this tells me that I've done everything that I should have done in January of this year, which is great. I'm on top of everything. So it says the next thing that we should do is choose our wedding party, and then it breaks that task down into subtasks as well, so you can tick off some of the things you've actually already done. And we have actually already discussed and decided on who we want to have as part of our wedding party, but we haven't asked them all yet. So once we have, I'll be able to tick off a few more of those things. You can change when you think it should be done by, or when you would like to have completed each task. So there's lots of different things, and it goes right up until the date just before the wedding. So it goes from the 3 months to go, 1 month to go, and then 1 week to go. So it really does put everything down to really small details that you can keep on track of. So I really like that about it as well. So as soon as you decide on what you want, you can shortlist things. They have loads of suppliers on here. So when we look at the suppliers tab, we can see, oh, if I go back to my shortlist actually. So this will show all of the things that you have shortlisted. Obviously in our venues, we have now booked. So that one has gone green because we have chosen which one we wanted. Again, you can add notes to that to see what you want. So all of our other shortlisted venues have now been got rid of, so it just focuses on the one you've actually booked. So you can go in. I've started to think about bridal shops that I want to visit. So at the moment I've got 2 shortlisted, one that's in my hometown and Abigail's Collection in Colchester, which has been recommended to me by a few people. So they're shortlisted at the moment. You can request brochures from them, and people are really good at replying on here as well. And then you can basically just, so if I went into florists, you can browse florists in the area. So it comes up with Ingatestone already in the search bar because it knows the venue that I've booked. And then you can have a browse through their request brochures and see how you get on. So the final tab on the Bridebook app is the guest list, and this is really useful. So obviously it breaks it down for how many you've got invited. We've got lots of people on here at the moment. We haven't quite decided like final cuts or anything like that. So it splits it up into the guests per partner. So this list says Rachel's guests. So you get to change whether you want them to be an evening, a maybe at the moment, or a day guest. And then obviously once we send out our invites, we can put in whether they RSVP yes or no, and that will update the numbers as well. So that's really useful. You can see that you can link people together. So when you add guests, it links +1s and things like that, families who are together. So you can click on bulk add guests, and you can add in, if you add an and between each person, it will put them together as a group. And that's nice and easy to see how many invites you're going to need, how many stamps you're going to need, how many envelopes you're going to need to be able to send them all to people, and you can keep track of who's coming for day, how many day guests you've got, how many evening guests you've got. You can also fill in all of your dietary requirements, and some venues will let you sort of put everything on here and then send it over to them, which is really great as well. So like I said, I have been using the Bridebook app quite a lot to help me. I have also got my own spreadsheet as well, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how I'm going to use that too. Okay, so this is my wedding planner spreadsheet. I found the template online. If I can find it again, I will put it in the description box below. So I will talk you through some of the tabs that it's got to it and how I am using it. So this is the main tab, it's the to-do list tab. So you can have a running to-do list here where I've added in some of my bits and pieces that I'd like to do and the status of them. And you've also got a column for who's responsible for them. And then we've got all of the main things that need to be booked on this side. So you can see that venue we have got as booked, and you can put in the deposit date and the final pay date, who's responsible for it. So that's both of us for this one. And so you can see the status of some of the different things. So the invite stationery, I have ordered save the dates. So that's written on there now. The ceremony, I've been given the phone number by Condon Park to book that now. And then accommodation for us is booked. And so everything else is pretty much in the research stage, and at the moment we're looking at different suppliers that we want, and we don't really need to firm up any decisions on that yet because we are getting married quite far in the future. So that's the first tab. Then we move on to the budget. So I used the Bridebook estimate to help us with this. We sat down and decided what to put next to each thing. So it's got a column for estimates, and that adds up your estimate of your budget here, and then the actual. So obviously the actuals mostly are 0 at the moment because we haven't booked much already. So I broke down the venue hire, the food and drinks to include the whole quote that we had from Crondon Park. And this is what the canapes will cost as an extra. So everything else, so you can see most things are coming in around budget or just under budget at the moment, and that hopefully will be useful later on when we have a bit of a pot of things that we need to spend on other things, hopefully. So the invitation stationery so far, I've just put in the amount of money that I've spent on the save the dates, and obviously the actual invitations will probably go a bit fancier and spend a bit more money on. So then I've just got a running total over here of their estimated budget and how much we have actually spent. I've just put in my own column here for how much of the budget we've got remaining, just so I can keep track of that too. So next is the guest list tab. So obviously I've been using the Bridebook app to keep track of my guest list mainly, so this hasn't got much in it at the moment, but this will be quite useful. The bride and groom are down as day guests, we are definitely invited. And then so far I've just got sort of our parents in here, so you can put together how many invites you'll need. Like my dad and my stepmom Leslie are together at one address, so obviously they'll only need one invite. And you can put in all of the address details in here. I've just taken them out for now, but we'll add them back in. So you can keep track of your day and your evening guests, how many invitations you're going to need and how many yeses and nos that you've got, so you can keep track of your final numbers. Next we've got the menu and travel. This hasn't been filled in for us yet, this was just the example that it came with, but you can start thinking about your table plan, who you're going to have on each table, and you can keep track of dietary requirements, any transport home if you're arranging that for anybody, and contact details if you need them. So this will be handy to give over to the venue for dietary requirements when the time comes. Suppliers as well, this at the moment hasn't got anything in it. Well, it could have the venue in it now, so I could put in my Crondon Park, I can't remember what my contact name is at the moment, the email and the phone numbers, just so you can keep a track of who you need to contact and when you might need to contact them. And then some things that we'll do nearer the day, so timings for the day. Again, this is just the example that came in the template, so keeping a track of what our itinerary is for the day. And then also I really liked this, again this is just the example, but different photos that we want. So this list could be handed over to the photographer so that you make sure you get all of the shots that you're looking for, you will get on the day, because obviously that will be quite a manic time I imagine on the day, so it's good to have all of those thoughts organised beforehand so that there's no surprises and you don't forget any pictures that you would like to have. So that's my spreadsheet. I'm finding it really useful to keep track of everything at the moment. I do also have this gorgeous planner, but I love a notebook and a journal, so I'm almost doing this as an afterthought to keep it nice and neat, as more of a memento of the wedding planning journey, rather than actually scribbling notes down in it, because I want to keep it nice and neat. But yeah, so that is my spreadsheet as well. And so our next steps then, like I said, I've ordered save the dates, so they are going to be sent out as soon as I've got them. We'll be sending save the dates mainly to our day guests, so that they save the date. Evening guests, you don't necessarily send save the dates to, as it can cause a bit of confusion as to whether they are there for the day or the evening. We are deciding on our wedding party and asking our sort of nearest and dearest to be part of our day, which is really exciting, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in my next wedding vlog once everybody has been asked. So then the next things we've got coming up, we're going to a wedding fair on the 6th of February, which I'm planning to vlog. We'll be hoping to get in touch with some suppliers, see the sorts of things that are on offer and what we would like on our day. And then the most exciting part, I'm going to start making some appointments to go dress shopping. That's going to be really exciting. I'll vlog as much of my experience of that as I can. I don't want to give too much away because obviously I'd like my dress to be a bit of a reveal on the day. But yeah, so there's lots of exciting things coming up. I will vlog as much as my experience of wedding planning as I can. I found it really useful to watch a couple of YouTube videos, especially when I was first starting out. So literally a couple of days after we got engaged over Christmas, I was watching what are the things you should do when you first start planning a wedding. So my main tips would be to budget first of all, research your venues, go to some open days, and just take each thing as you come and download the Bridebook app, because it has been absolutely invaluable to me for my wedding planning. So yeah, So if you've enjoyed this video, then please like and subscribe. I will be adding this to a wedding planning playlist, so any of my upcoming videos will be added to this playlist as well. And I can't wait to see you again for the next one. Bye!